We are Short Stride, Inc., a virtual school platform that benefited greatly from government COVID funding that is amazingly just ending now. We think Stride, formerly known as K-12, is the last COVID over-earner set to fall off a cliff, and it is trading at peak prices on peak EBITDA. We pulled the data. Management is hiding that Stride benefited from greater than $330 million in COVID relief money. As much as 50 to 75% of that money flowed to Stride's bottom line. We estimate more than 25% of profit. We discovered Stride is being paid for ghost students, including absentee students, that shouldn't be counted in enrollment numbers. And Stride is not disclosing when schools leave. The COVID cliff is here, and Stride is still trying to hide it from investors.
Federal funding passed during the pandemic is set to expire.
Public schools across the country are finding themselves at the edge of a federal funding cliff.
$190 billion in federal pandemic relief funding approved in 2020 and 2021.
Congress passed 3 acts totaling nearly $190 billion in aid for the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief, or ESSER fund.
Now set up to dry this September.
Stride's CEO has misled investors about the COVID cliff. Here he is in August 2021.
Those dollars are, as you said, they're not really directed towards us, either directly or indirectly.
And in October 2021.
We didn't see a significant amount of ESSER money coming, and we still don't.
And April 2024.
And I don't think that we have a cost structure that's going to need to be right-sized because of ESSER funding going away.
Mr. Rue, are you a man of your word?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
Do you do what you say you're going to do, sir?
Under what circumstances?
We reviewed public data on ESSER funding, school by school, and we estimate that Stride-managed schools received more than $330 million of COVID funds. Former executives told us COVID funds flowed through at an unusually high rate and thus contributed a large percent of profit.
That ESSER money was kind of like a windfall. Stride swept all that money. $50 to $75 of $100 would have fallen to their bottom line.
Why? Because,
well, the money came in the form of a blank check.
There was no supplement requirement. They were allowed to supplant existing expenses.
The ESSER funds did allow you to supplant. I'm sure they got the majority.
We supplanted a lot and let a lot of that money drop to the bottom line. Unlike other federal funds, you could use the money to supplant the things that you are already spending money on. We shifted salaries to ESSER, which meant it was a little bit of a shell game.
We estimate that COVID funding boosted Stride's profit by more than 25%. One of Stride's largest schools, Ohio Virtual Academy, publishes 5-year forecasts. They forecast Stride's high-margin fees to decline by more than 30%. The company has also hidden another essential KPI. Its schools are leaving. We uncovered at least 7 schools that have dropped Stride since James Ryu took over as CEO in 2021. None of them have been disclosed to investors. School board notes from Insight PA Cyber Academy, which has more than 3,500 students enrolled, reveal the school's plan to leave Stride by fall 2025. Stride's competitors we spoke to said,
"If they continue in the vein they are in, I don't see how they don't continue to lose schools. We're counting on picking up 1 to 2 a year for the foreseeable future."
Stride has a history of collecting hundreds of millions of dollars for students it is not educating. Former executives and administrators called them ghost students. They told us that 5% to 10% of Stride students are essentially fake and never should have been enrolled. We were told that another 20% to 30% of Stride students rarely show up for class. The problem isn't new. California's Attorney General previously forced Stride into a $168 million settlement over ghost students and poor academics. That Attorney General was Kamala Harris, the original Ghostbuster. For Stride students who do attend class, roughly a third do not graduate, and around 70% are behind grade level. The virtual schools have terrible ratings, an average of 3 out of 10.
What is ESG?
3 letters of the alphabet? I don't know.
You don't know what ESG is in the context of a corporation?
Well, I suspect a lot of different ESGs out there. I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
Former employees and executives claim CEO James Ryu doesn't care about schools or students and drives away talent with shouting and bullying.
He says they're students. They're dumb.
He creates a toxic environment.
Tendency to have rageaholic-type episodes. a management by fear, bullying control freak.
He would talk about when he used to travel in Asia and the hookers.
We are short Stride. The public data on COVID ESSER funds doesn't lie, and it says Stride's profit is about to fall off a cliff.